What's going on, y'all? It's Loren. We're reading today 33 Steps to Reclaiming Your Infinite Self by Stuart Wilde. Great author, great lecture, great philosophy. Something to tap into, reclaiming your infinite self, digging deeper, going past the physical, getting into the spirit, getting into past ego, understanding yourself, and coming back to that spiritual essence that we all have. So we're reading step 2 for today, expanding your awareness. Okay, here we go. For this lesson, the second step on your journey, I want you to consider the importance of expanding your awareness. Most people, even though seemingly alive, exist in a surreal state somewhere between asleep and comatose. Your initial awareness comes from the five senses as well as from reasoning, knowledge, and logic. Then there is the awareness you acquire from your experience in this lifetime. But beyond your normal awareness is a more subtle awareness and extrasensory perception. It is vital that you rekindle strength and claim that extrasensory perception, because the language of the infinite self is very subtle. Its promptings are not necessarily obvious to the conscious mind. It operates at a very fast, highly subliminal level of energy. Without a little ESP, you may miss a vital turning point in your life, or you may not see where the answer to a problem that is holding up your evolution as a spiritual being. Here's how the process works. Once you internalize the God force and you accept that you are part of the infinite energy that all things inside all, it follows that you are connected to all things. Think of it like this. External reality appears to be outside of you, but that is an illusion created by the finite point of view. A transdimensional being watching the earth plane, watching people's thought forms and feelings, would see the earth as one molecule made up of various atoms of matter, thought, and feelings. It would see all of the evolution inside the one molecule. From beyond the earth plane, there will be no internal or external reality. There will be only the one internal reality, all of it internal. So you are inward, connected to all things, seen and unseen, here and not here. Strange, eh? Nothing is outside of you. Strange but true. Over the years, I have experimented a great deal with entering a trance state. In that state, you eventually see the near-death tube. It's the tube that people describe as linking our physical world with the world of spirit. Having paired up the tube on many occasions, one of the things I learned is that the spirit worlds, those I have seen anyway, are mirrored to the earth plane, meaning our left is their right, our left. But also I came to see that the spirit world exists in a rotation that is beyond our 3D world and what might be a 4D world, or more like a multi-dimensional world. I came to realize that our physical world, when compared relatively to the spirit world, is in fact outside in. Now, before you throw your hands in the air wondering what this Stuart dude is waffling about, let me explain it to you as best I can. You have to remember that we only have words that describe a 3D world. So once you get a rotation beyond 3D, things get tough language-wise. Imagine a large beach ball and a pump full of air. Take a few Lego bricks and figures from your kid's toy pile and glue them onto the surface of a beach ball. Now imagine that you could turn the ball inside out. The outside of the ball would be smooth and all the Lego buildings and people would be stuck to the inside skin of the ball. A little Lego person living inside the beach ball would say, I'm over here and the red Lego building is over there. So the building is external to me. But in fact, everything is inside the ball. The building, the air, the Lego figures with all their thoughts and feelings. The universe and our earth are outside in. We are all, from a spiritual, more distant perspective, inside the same beach ball, which describes our evolution reality that the physical beach ball is inside an even bigger ball, and so on. Thus, we are connected to everything because we are inside the same molecule, and everything in that molecule expresses to a lesser or greater extent the God force. The paper of this book has some part of God force in it because there is God force in the atoms of molecules. That's not as much God force as something that's alive, such as a worm, and the worm has less God force than a bird because the bird is just at a higher complexity of evolution. Humans possess more God force than animals. Once you understand that, and you understand that everything, even inanimate objects, emit a feeling, then you can understand that you are a feeling as well. A thumbprint energy is the collective emotion you develop in this lifetime, along with whatever amount of God force you have mustered so far. You're not so much as what you think, but you are what you feel. Those philosophies that say think and grow rich are not necessarily wrong, but they don't quite go all the way. You have to feel and grow rich. Some humans have over time garnered a greater amount of God force than you or I have. There are levels, but we are all connected. So you are this page, you are the worm, you are the bird, you are the things, you are the life exists inside of you, even though they appear physically to be outside of you. Realizing that everything is a feeling, you can begin to place your awareness into things to discover how they feel. How does a crow feel when it flies? How does this tree feel? How does the situation at work feel? How does your boss proposal that the guy in the bar has just offered you feel? Is it crooked? Is it safe? Is it comfortable? So how do things feel? And looking at your reality in this way, you understand that you can push your consciousness into everything to figure out how it feels. These are the rudiments of an extrasensory perception. The system is not foolproof. Sometimes your subtle perceptions get cluttered with your logic. But the more you use the muscle of your subtle perception, the more acute and sensitive it becomes. From understanding that you are feeling and that you're the God force within, you have to grasp the idea that you can mentally direct the God force. What that means is you are a magnet for energy as well as a projector of energy. You live inside a personal thought form that reflects your actions and words, but it also reflects your innermost hidden attitudes and feelings. Most don't consider their thinking or inner dialogue to be of great consequence. To them, it's a silent and secret, and it does not seem to impact the experience of life particularly. That is not so. External reality instantly changes to reflect not only what you are saying and doing, but what you are thinking and feeling silently within. Everything you say, every thought, even a passing glance at people in the street generates a minute subtle emotional response within you. Do this. Go to a busy street and watch your reaction as people pass you by. You'll find that your mind comments and passes judgment on everything. You react to that judgment emotionally, experiencing desire, sorrow, or indifference. When someone repulses or scares you, you experience restriction. All these restrictions come from just looking at people on the street. Then consider the impact of your silent thoughts. What emotions do they create within you? When those thoughts are projected out into daily life, what effects are they having on what you see or how life comes to you? Are those inner thoughts and feelings collapsing and destroying your life, or are they sustaining and building things up? Next, be aware of your dialogue. It seems obvious, but most are not really aware how self-destruction their dialogue is. Negative people don't see themselves that way. They don't see how negatively it's changing their external reality to fit their mindset and thus destroying the quality of life. Listen to your dialogue and watch your thoughts. See how much of it is bitching and moaning and expressing weakness, and how much of it is the God force within expressing hope, gratitude, love, and well-being. Negatively kills you. Never forget that. It's a weed that eventually chokes you to death. If you believe in disease, you will imbalance the emotion affects your overall feelings and hasting the disease within you. If you say this job is a pain in the ass, the infinite self takes you literally and you get hemorrhoids. If you believe in lack, opportunity pass you by. Money falls from your wallet. Someone steals your car. Ernest Holmes said, when your mind goes, energy flows. We know from our experience that Holmes is right. Whatever you concentrate on empowers you. So if you've been dealing with contradicting or negative or adverse things, if you feel overwhelmed by difficulties and dysfunction, you can be sure that they will be in your hall of fame, so to speak. Here's a statue to dysfunction. Here's another frustration. And over there's the one that on the struggle. Let's bow down to the God of struggle and give it 15 minutes of your reality. The first point of awareness is to discipline your mind, police your dialogue, and cut out the depreciating statements, especially ones that destroy your energy and make you sick. If someone asks you how you feel, don't answer horrible, grim, life's a nightmare. Instead, answer fantastic. It doesn't matter if your life is fantastic, or it doesn't matter if your life isn't fantastic. That's only the ego's viewpoint spirit anyway. Spiritually, your life is fantastic. It's a great privilege to be here. I think it's important to remind yourself of that constantly. At first, your mind will be very strong. You'll say, I believe, and the mind responds, no, I don't. You'll say, I feel good, and the mind contradicts, no, I don't. It's a tussle, but that is your challenge and beauty of this scarce journey, sacred journey. You are not necessarily perpetually victimized by your mind. You can push against it and change its programming. It's not a matter of wrestling with your mind, but more a progress of quietly and constantly disempowering its negative influence. When the mind offers you a negative thought, say to yourself, I don't accept that negative energy. I don't accept that fear. I am love. I am positivity. Everything flows through me. Everything comes to me for my highest good. Thus, you start to replace the psychological that often creates so much destruction in your life. The psychology that often creates so much destruction in your life. As well as policing your thoughts and dialogue, you would want to keep an eye out on the quality of your associations and actions. Stay away from people who discriminate and deprecate, or those who are involved in destructive and disregarding actions. You don't need to judge them. You don't need to have to be involved either. Watch over your actions and make sure that you run your life in a positive and honorable way. Settle your debts, follow through on commitments, and treat people fairly. Don't allow your mind to suck you into actions that affirm weakness or lower your energy and destroy your balance. The other thing you should watch is the hidden nature of your motivation. When talking to others, notice and become aware of what it is that you are actually saying. What is your agenda? What subtle emotion are you experiencing as the conversation progresses? Underneath your words is the real you. Ask yourself, am I manipulating, cajoling, seeking praise or recognition? Am I trying to get my hands on this person's money? Do I pretend to like this individual when in fact I'm scared of them and I resent them? And so forth. You'll be amazed at what you discover. Often what you discover is that socially you play a Mr. Nice Guy routine, full of reasonableness, caring, and concern. Yet hidden behind this social self is the real you, which may be vindictive, greedy, discriminatory, scared, self-absorbed, and possessing of a host of rather sneaky and ugly traits that make up the shadow side of you. When you uncover these things, you probably go through a dark night of the soul as you become aware that deep within you are not all sweetness and light. Once you get past the remorse of looking at the nastiness, you can Through awareness and compassion for yourself, heal the nastiness and transform the real innerness for yourself. Heal the nastiness and transform the real inner you. Most of our jealousy and hatred and bitterness has its roots in childhood and our family of origin. Some of it comes from the competitive nature of our education system, which teaches children to contest against others, praising them for winning and looking down on them when they lose. Nastiness and put downs are a part of the system. If you get in touch with the innermost being, you will usually be able to identify where certainty, derogatory impulses come from. If you can't figure it out yourself, go to the professional counselor and he or she will help you. Most of the saintic nature of our shadows stem from fear. As you embrace the infinite self, fear wanes and your shadow side become lighter and more in control. However, if you do tackle the shadow, you can't come to the infinite self in the often phony cloak or just a social being. You come as you really are, and through awareness and the yin softness or spirituality, you see the reality of who you are. A lot of unanswered questions suddenly get resolved. For example, holy moly. Whiter than white types are often racked for frustration. They are so good and generous to people, and yet they get very little in return. People are happy to take what they can get, but when the holy moly gets too close, people flee, opportunities appear and melt again. Recognition is elusive, and life is always just out of reach. Why is that? Deep within the socially accepted holy moly types lie what is often a sleazy agenda. It starts as self-hatred or a lack of self-worth, which they have to ameliorate and please. A gracious demeanor plus good acts cover a poor self-image that seeks approval and recognition. The savior archetype needs to have meaning in his life, and pretending to love and serve others is one way of achieving that meaning. Only a small percentage of the goodness is real, actually cares for others. More often than not, when viewing himself in a conscious state, these types sees himself as superior to others, distanced from the rattle by his holiness. Yet in the subconscious state, he sees himself as an outcast and inferior. Hence his needs for approval. Feeling his hidden agenda, people stay just long enough for the handout and then they flee. They lack trust and quite rightfully so. So they see the individual in a good like way, which is how he or she wants to be seen. Ordinary people don't feel that there is anything that they can do for good, so they don't offer. By discovering your inner nastiness and your hidden motivation, you see why your life is often laced with unnecessary contradictions and frustration, with the conscious part of the seemingly honorable, and the subconscious taking the very opposite track. Notice and watch and remedy those negative impulses and come gradually to the spiritual correct stance. This is for the most part should be natural towards others. If possible, one of the openness, support, and love. One last point. When you die, you will see yourself in your total spiritual reality. It comes as one hell of a shock to some when they see that the spiritual reality of what they are is very different from what they think they are. Preferably, you don't want to wait until death and the next world to discover these things. You want to become aware of them now and fix them while you can. It is the terrible, sad moment if you die before you can make amends. You won't like what you see or the consequences of that darkness. Daily life is a symbol of your inner you. And using your ordinary five senses to the fullest, noticing and watching it assists you in the development of the sixth sense. So as part of the heightened awareness, start demanding that your mind notice everything. Watch, look, count, and make mental note of everything. If, for example, you enter to a large hotel ballroom, within seconds you ought to know the answer to the dozen simple questions. How many chairs, lights, and waiters are there? What color is the carpet? Where are the tables? What's on them? And so on. Constantly let your man notice even the most irrelevant information. In this way, you heighten your awareness in the five senses. And in watching your surroundings carefully, you gradually strengthen your sixth sense, picking up more of what is going on. Heighten your awareness and observation in the external world, assisting you becoming more aware of your eternal, visionary self. The universe is constantly talking to you and showing you things. So if you're walking down the street and something strange happens, stop, watch, and remember. If a black cat hops across your foot, does a somersault and pees against the pub wall, ask yourself, what does this mean? The fact that you are coincidentally there at the precise moment in eternity to witness the cat's antics means that the symbol is yours. It's the external world talking to you. It is showing you things about yourself. Thus, by internalizing the God force and by understanding that your infinite self and its inherent spirituality develop and grows only when you quiet the mind, you begin to see how the universe law of the God force is trying to take you by the hand, show you things, and lead you on. Life is a prayer. It's a dialogue. You are projecting energy and receiving energy. That is the interaction between you and the God force. Watch the ebb and flow. Watch your inner dialogue and the language of life symbols and offer up your simple humanity activities, your moments of silence, in a symbolic exchange of energy and information, of action and gratitude. The external internal dialogue comes from silence and develops and shrinks through serenity. In ancient legend of Camelot, King Arthur took the sword Excalibur from the Lady of the Lake. That Excalibur is silent in power. It's not the ego's power. It comes from a placid lake, meaning it came from serenity. You don't have to be perfect to be serene. Tell yourself that constantly. I am serene and balanced whether life is perfect or not. Accept the gift of serenity, and bit by bit your emotions calm down, and as that occurs, your spiritual power flows up from within, creating even more balance. It's a power that you will want to protect and hide away. You will use it to heal your body and to show you a transcendence that is not normally available to people. Now you must learn to guard the power, to protect your energy, and to be vigilant so that you don't allow your ego to trash it. It's a paradox of life that sees the ego on the one hand, babbling away, trying to build yourself up, hoping to generate gratifying experiences, exerting itself into attention and to sustain its importance. And on the other hand, generate negativity to trash yourself in its dreams. Only the ego will believe in the moaning and groaning things make it better. Essentially, it's a small child calling for his mother to help it. I cry, I moan, I demonstrate the injustice of it all. Save me, help me. If I bitch a lot, will you give me something for nothing? Expanding your awareness comes from the understanding that everything is a feeling, and from asking yourself constantly, how do things feel? It's like a muscle that perhaps you haven't used for years. As you begin to ask, it will strengthen quite quickly. Try this. Ask the God force to show you something in the next 24 hours, something you've never seen before. A perception, an intuition, a different way of looking at things that you've seen 100 times before. And watch carefully. Something unusual will pop up, and you'll see that the seemingly external world is in fact internal. And it's taking you, talking to you. It loves you in its attached way. Let's go on to the next step. If you have a minute, I'd like to talk about the courage and heroism of life. Expanding your inner awareness. So that right there is going by the hand, letting the universe take you by the hand. And understanding that everything is eternal. The outside world is a reflection of your inside world. It's actually an illusion. It's bigger than you ever could imagine. You have to expand your inner awareness. When you walk in the room, you should take notes mentally. Within 5 minutes, 2 minutes, you should know what color the carpet, how many chairs, how many waiters, What's the color? How many people around you? Where you sitting? Take note. Ask your mind to take note. More notice, more awareness of what's going on where you are. Ask your mind to take more awareness. Expand your inner awareness. Lesson 2. Step 2. And the 33 steps to reclaim your infinite self. By Stuart Wilde.